Here we go. We have a lot of stuff on the list for today. This is just so bittersweet because this is our last meeting for the 2024-2025 MAGIP board, and my last meeting that I'm presiding over as president, in which I will hand over the keys to the kingdom to Jackson Rose. I'm so excited. All right. So first up on the agenda, meeting minutes. Could I ask somebody to make a motion to, well, I guess I should ask, are there any changes that need to be made to the March 18th or the April 17th meeting minutes? All right. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the March and April minute meetings.
Thank you, Jeff. Anybody want to second that?
I can second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
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 All opposed? Thanks. All opposed, say nay. All right. The meeting minutes for March 18th and April 17th, 2025 have officially been approved. Okay, so let's move on to the next order of business, which is the election results. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so the election results. So where's Mike? Mike, do you want to talk about the election results?
Yeah. We sent out over 1,000 emails through Wild Apricot. 56 actually voted. We did have a full election, but nobody was running opposed, so it was just straightforward. Whoever was in won. So welcome Nick, Lauren, and Dave to the new positions. I don't think any of them are here. No.
I was just looking to see. I didn't see them.
So yeah, and I would just encourage Nate, Hillary, and Tessa to reach out to those three, or the ones that are taking over your spots, and just give them a little feedback on what you do and stuff.
Yeah, and if I could comment on that before we move on to ratifying and I was in training for 4 days, and I had set up an auto send for those 3 emails to welcome our new board members. And Mike, you had pointed out that you didn't receive one for Nick. And I could not for the life of me figure out what happened. And then when I went back to the office, for some reason on my email from home, it wasn't showing that it was in my inbox, but when I was in the office, the one from Nick didn't get sent. So I did send it, it got sent late. But it sounds like you had also reached out to them. So just FYI, that was a little bit of a mix up on my part, and a reason why you have to be a little suspicious of technology, only a little. But yeah,
Was
those
it the new Outlook that's screwed me over a number of times recently?
Yeah, it just
I
I'm not
had
sure.
to switch back.
I did the same. Yeah, I did the same, Helen. Okay, so does anybody have any comments or questions about the new board members?
I just want to say, Mike, I know that you put a lot of effort into the election. You brought the issue up many times. You organized the whole thing, and just want to commend you on that. I know that was a big effort. Hearing that we had 50 some people vote, that's the first I heard of it. But if you think about it, that's pretty close to the 25%, and that's kind of the national average. So good job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It is a lot of work.
Well, and thank you, Mike, for sticking around for another 3 years too.
Yeah.
Right? Congratulations.
Hang on a second. I get
And
this
to
phone call.
Rob as well,
See, you
Yeah.
said that
And
1,000?
Jackson.
right? And Jackson, congratulations, you're official. You're officially official.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we
5%.
do need to ratify the election results. So it looks like we might have lost Mike for a sec. Are you
Nope,
back?
sorry, I had a phone call. My
Oh,
apologies.
no, that's okay. So ratifying the election results?
Yeah, I mean, I'll motion to ratify them.
Okay,
I-
would anybody like to second that?
Sure, I can second.
Awesome. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay.
Nay, or no, I'm sorry. I'm lost today. Sorry. I rescind my nay because I said yay.
So we have successfully ratified the election results for this upcoming MAGIP board. And again, just to qualify it, Nick Lewis is the treasurer, Lauren Wilcox is the secretary, Dave, is it Ria? Anybody know? Dave is the technical committee chair. And then also, again, Mike Powell coming back as the VP and Rob coming back as, Rob, what's your official title?
Geospatial guru.
That's it. Yes, absolutely. And something to do with grants and scholarships.
Exactly. There you
All
go.
right. Awesome. Okay, so I would like to point out orientation meeting prior to June in person. So prior to the June in-person meeting. So tell me if I'm wrong, Jackson and Mike, we're doing the orientation right before the in-person meeting rather than having a separate one earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, that was what Jackson wanted to do.
Okay.
Jackson, if you want to further that, feel free.
Oh, no long explanation needed. I just thought try to consolidate. Everyone's going to be, or a lot of folks are going to be coming to Bozeman. So kind of have it on the front end, and then the new members can dive right into their first meeting that day as well.
Yes, and if you are one of the outgoing board members, we would like to say thank you for a job well done. Hillary and Tessa and Nate, you will be missed. And to Rob or to Mike's point, if you have the opportunity to reach out to your incoming replacement, that would be great. Do a quick handoff of what your roles and responsibilities look like. I know that the incoming board members will appreciate it. All right. Yeah, that's the one-on-one meetings. Okay. Any questions about the elections, the ratification, or the one-on-one meetings? Okay, moving right along. So just an administrative, I actually saw that I have this on the agenda twice, but I think it's worth qualifying. So Mike and Jackson and I have talked about this. Michelle, you and I, and Michael have also talked about this. So Michelle's full scope contract is a 2-year contract, which expires the end of June. And it's a little bit of a gray space for us because we have the incoming board members in June and we don't necessarily have an approved budget yet. So first of all, Michelle, I know that you and Michael are working on putting together a new contract for us, scope of work, and we'll be looking for that. I think probably, I don't know, send it to the MAGIP board email, and
Oh.
then we can take a look.
Okay, yep, and it's ready. I thought I already sent it, so sorry about that. But we really didn't make any changes other than just updating the dates and just our normal 3% COL increase. So
Okay.
nothing else changed. And if at any point, I mean, if there's a different timing cycle that works better for you guys, we can be flexible on that too.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about that. That's something that we do. That's something that I do with our contracts at the city is, for instance, our ELA with Esri. Our fiscal year ends the 30th of June, but we can't actually write a check until the 1st of July. And there's always, we have to go through all the rigmarole that is required for that. So we actually ask them to make it due the 1st of September. That gives us time to get all the paperwork in the process. I don't know if that's something that the board is interested in doing, maybe moving it out to the end of July or the end of August. We could certainly talk about that.
I think thinking about that seems like something good to discuss, especially if we got a new treasurer coming in.
Yeah.
And then right away we try to finalize a new budget. I don't think that works very well. So we might want to consider changing those types of things.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else have any ideas?
I think pushing it back just, a little bit, it would be fantastic because I didn't know anything about that budget in the first meeting in June last year. So just, if that's an option for Michelle and her team, I think that makes a lot of sense for us.
Yeah, sure. We could just do I think because it expires on June 30, we could just maybe do like the board could just vote on make a motion to amend it, to extend the current one out maybe a month or two, or however, like that the motion would be to change the dates on the contract or what. I think it would be an easy motion to make, and we can be flexible on it.
I mean, and similarly, it's not like we're going to cancel the contract and elect not to renew it. So, should we just deal with it right now?
Well, we don't have a we don't have a budget and we don't have the contract. And without actually reviewing the contract, I would not want to do that. Are you talking about amending it?
Just
Rob?
adding, not amending it, adding I worded that wrong, adding an addendum to it, I guess.
Yeah, like a continuing resolution.
Yeah. You're just extending it by the one we're currently in for like a month or two. Yeah. And like Rob said, from your side, from our point of view, it's not like I'm going to not work if there's a month or two lull between getting it approved, So, but yeah, think about what the timing is for you guys. If it's better to do August 1 through July 31 or September 1 to August 30, whatever works better for you guys. Just let us know.
Okay, I think that we should add this to the June meeting so that we have time to figure out how we're going to word to Michelle's point, the addendum. I think that would probably be the best way to deal with it.
The reason I thought, since we have a board in place currently, that is familiar with the process and the contents and stuff, I thought maybe we could take advantage of that. But maybe it'd be good to hear from Nate, in terms of how we structure ongoing, future budget schedules, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think it's really tough, like the timing of our elections and when we need to pass a budget by. Because I think it would be nice for the board to review the budget, like at least 2 or 3 board meetings before having to pass something. And currently, new board members come in at the end of May and they have 1 board meeting, and then our budget year starts July 1. So it does make it kind of difficult. And then, yeah, also fitting in the full scope contract, I guess it would be nice to kind of see how that fits into the budget too, before signing the contract and passing a budget.
Right.
Is there a way, just one other suggestion, I mean, it sounds like it might be a bigger conversation, but is there a way that your board can approve your budget like your current board would approve your budget for the next year, like, you know, before the next board even starts? Do you know what I'm saying? So you're not doing it.
Right. Yeah,
Just-
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
that kind of makes me uneasy because I mean, that's the whole point of the board member, right? Is that they're supposed to have a say on the budget for the upcoming year. So it feels a little backwards to approve a budget for a new board
Mm,
coming in.
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
I
Well,
would
and,
agree with that.
and you'd be working
ahead.
on it probably during the conference as well, because typically the first version of the budget's not the one that's approved. So
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too, is that the majority of what we earn is from the conference. Need to know what the earnings are in order to project for the new fiscal year. And that generally doesn't happen until May. And then the new board comes in June. And if we kicked it out for 3 meetings, that would be all the way into August. And that's very close to when we are planning for the strategic planning event, which is in September. So if we don't have an approved budget, there's things that kind of get kicked a little bit. I guess what I was thinking was having Michelle's and Full Scope's contract expire in August, so that if we approved a budget in July, we would be good to go. And that would be 2 meetings for the new board that's coming in.
Why is it set up the way it is right now? I mean, do we know?
Our contract just runs with your fiscal year.
There's
You just set it up.
nothing, I don't think there's
No,
anything
no, I mean,
requiring.
the contract is less of an issue, but I guess I'm thinking about the fiscal year, the board,
Oh.
the budget and the board cycles.
it used to be calendar year. It used to, but I think we were moving more towards a fiscal year to kind of get closer to like the board year. But yeah, you're right there, Rob. I mean, there's really no.
Screwed that up then, right?
It is a weird, your cycle is a little bit odd and challenging.
But I don't
Yeah.
know if there's a better way though, because like, I mean, either way, you're probably running into, say you go back to calendar year, you're still approving a budget around the first of the year, and then really it's for a board you're not even going to be on potentially. So you're still running into that issue where you're approving a budget that half our board's going to fall off of in May anyway.
Yeah, but that's at least there's enough overlap in that situation, Jeff. I mean, that's how boards, people drop off and their terms end.
Yeah.
I think that would be my vote. I know we're not actually voting on that today,
Yeah.
but I think
Well,
the calendar year makes more sense. And the strategic planning, session is in the fall, so that's when a lot of details can get ironed out, and then
I mean,
approve the budget.
maybe Nate knows more about this, because I think it was the year before you came in when we switched from calendar year to fiscal year, but I want to say it had to do something with the money tied to the conference as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's when I came on, I think Jeremy was yeah, as long as I have been on the board, it's been July 1 to June 30th. I think the
Yeah.
year before it was a calendar year, but I wasn't part of the board then, so I was not too familiar with it. But yeah, I think it does make more sense to have the fiscal year coincide with the calendar year, because then you do have the strategic planning session, and yeah, the board has time to kind of plan out a budget a little bit more. But
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have any formal action that we're going to take during this meeting, or are we going to wait until next meeting where we can review the contract and then make suggestions?
Yeah, we definitely need to move it to June, and then if Michelle doesn't forget to send it to us. That
She
would-
already sent it, didn't you, Michelle, during the
I did.
meeting?
I did. Except that I did think I already sent it to you, Gail. Well, I thought I sent it to Gail. I didn't think I sent it to everybody, but I
If
will
it came
send
in
it.
my if it came in my inbox, I'm so sorry, Michelle. I just
Oh, I
was in training for
I
planning
probably
wisdom.
forgot. I probably thought I
Yeah.
did and just didn't.
Okay.
Michelle, I'm just curious, and it's probably silly to ask, but how are the payments made? Is it one lump sum, or do we pay you monthly?
Yeah, monthly. We just do monthly invoicing. And then it's broken into like a percentage of its administrative and a bulk of its conference.
So if we take our sweet ass time deciding on budgets and all that kind of stuff, you still need to get paid in the meantime, right? So we would need to make a payment for June, no matter what.
Right. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that would be the most
Well,
immediate thing for us to figure out, right? Is to make that payment. But if we make a payment for 1 month, then the contract would be altered, right? Or is it
to be
just
clear, Rob, the contract expires the end of June, not mid-June. So Nate, when do you send the payment for Michelle?
When full scope send an invoice, and that can be anytime during the month.
Okay.
So,
Okay, and that would be approved on the budget up through the end of June. So up through June 30th, the fiscal budget that we've passed provides for the full scope contract. So it's after that that we would want to extend the contract for 2 months and then begin on a new cycle. If you like, I don't know that that's what we're going to do, but that I think that would be the way that we could approach it. Right. Any other questions, comments, concerns about the full scope contract? I actually just thought of a question, Michelle. So we have Alicia on our budget, on our contract. I don't think that we've discussed at all changing her hours for the coming year. It sounds like everything's worked as planned. Do you have any ideas about that? Are we keeping it the same? Sounds like everything's the same.
Yeah, I think so. I certainly haven't heard any different. I think that as long as you all feel like you don't need her anymore than you already do, I think all is good.
Well, we did have that question last time and with Alicia, and we were hoping that she was monitoring her hours a little bit because I think she was we were really asking her to do a lot during conference time, and it was starting to get overwhelming. Either not, maybe that's not the word for it, but the time that we had allotted for her, we were probably going over with the conference stuff. And I was just wondering if things are fine now after a couple of years now that we've gone through it again.
Yeah, I think things have kind of settled, and I do think that she obviously is a little more, probably does spend more time during that time. But then, there's other times of the year that aren't as active. So we base our contract with everybody on an average. So, we average it out for the whole year. So in talking to her, she feels like now that we've kind of settled in, now that we've been doing it for a couple of years, that if you average it out, it's about right. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All right, Jackson, you'll just make sure that that's on the agenda for the June meeting. Yeah. And then Michelle, could I also ask that during the June meeting, we get some of the numbers that we used to get, like a report on what, I don't know, is it social media hits or something like that?
Yeah, you want to, I can get that to you anytime.
Oh, that'd be great.
You
It'd be
want it-
just nice for all of us to see it.
Yeah, you want it for the June meeting or do you want it before then?
Before then would be fine. If you just want to send it to the MAGIP board,
Okay.
that would be great.
Yep.
So I am curious, this is sort of an aside on the email notifications. Are the new board members on the MAGIP email now? Or does that not change until the 1st of June?
They have not been added yet.
Okay.
I was
Thank
waiting
you,
to
Megan.
ratify the results here.
All right, awesome. Okay.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to do, Gail.
Okay. Thank you. So that's the administration portion. Let's move on to the reports, and Jeff, you're up.
So I don't really have much. Doing most of our post-conference wrap-up tomorrow. We'll do kind of a deeper dive with the feedback that we got. Kind of just a small recap of that. Most people like the conference. I haven't poured through some of the comments yet. I've gone through it a little bit, but I think there's going to be tidbits that we're take into next year's conference. We did receive a little bit of a discount from the hotel. I guess, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, was it $1,500 that we got discounted?
Yes, I think in the end it was about 1,500.
Okay. So I think that definitely helped our bottom line. And
What was that for? Was that for lack of performance?
you could say that.
Nice.
Basically doing their job half the time. Yeah, we
Michelle had
Go
Michelle had a very long list of things that we were going after.
Nice.
I, in a very professional manner, gave them a lot of feedback.
Thanks for doing that, Michelle. I'm wondering if we should, it'd just be good to note that somewhere, because I know, I know we revisit venues, and try to get ones that do their job would be awesome. Thank you for providing that feedback to them.
Yeah, yep, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know that going in though. I mean, it really just comes down to the week of, and I mean, I guess with your conversations with Zeta, I mean, there was no indication that she was going to give us a cold shoulder like she had all week. So like I said, it's hard going in. You know, they're going to sales pitch it the way they do when we come in with happy faces, but when the lights come on, it's hard to predict. So it's one thing that's kind of just out of our control, I think. And you try to deal with it the best you can the week of, and make wave on the things that you want changed in the future. So but yeah, I don't really have anything else. And I guess for 2026, whitefish, I think we all know that. Michelle and I will be looking at 2027 probably sometime later this year. Great Falls probably comes to mind. Probably Great Falls or Butte. Great Falls is the last remaining of the locations that we have had the conference at that has not had a big sky geocon. The last time they had it was last year at the Intermountain GIS conference. So if you go by that logic, they're probably due. So yeah, that's all I have. I'll probably have more an extended report in June, but before tomorrow's meeting, there's really nothing else I can say. So
Thank you, Jeff. Michelle, do you want to give us, is there any other information that you wanted to give over and above Jeff?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll go over this in detail tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you guys as a board the overall just revenue figures. We were at 22,700 for sponsorships, about 42,000 for registration, 34,000 for workshops. And then after expenses, we are showing a bottom line of upwards of 20,000. So for the budget
Compared to
analysis.
past years.
It was similar to last year, I think, and Bozeman maybe. Kind of been the trend for the past couple of years, but yeah.
Do you have the number of how many people attended? I had heard like 220.
That's about, yeah, there was about 220, 225, yeah.
Nice.
Nate, I was curious of what you budgeted for I guess the bottom line. Was it around 10,000?
What do you mean by?
Oh, 10,000 net from the conference.
10,000 net from the conference.
Is that what you budgeted for? Right around that. I was just curious of what the final number is compared to what we budgeted.
Well, I have the general operating budget filled out with the actual numbers, and that's available on the drive if you want to look at that. And so that has what we passed and what we expected to bring in from the GEO conference and the expenses, and then what we actually made. So looking at that might help answer your question. I'm not sure exactly what
I
you
think
mean.
I had budgeted about 8,200, Jeff, as the net, but sometimes mine varies a little bit from
Okay.
Nate's just because we code things differently. But well, in that internal conference budget that I do, there was an estimate of 8,200.
Good.
Any other?
And then the only other thing I'll mention is, just so you guys know, and I didn't have the bandwidth to take it on, but Michael, my colleague Michael, is going to be planning the Intermountain GIS, which is now called something else. Conference.
Is it Northwest GIS
No,
conference?
something with a G, with Kara Utter.
Oh, the Geospatial Professional. What is that? What is their
Yeah.
name?
GIS Pro maybe is,
No, the GPN.
yeah, it used to be
Yes.
Urissa.
Yeah, GPN, Geospatial Professional Network. I'm looking at one of their mugs. That's the
I
only
think
way I know.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's going to be in Pocatello.
Okay. I was
Oh,
wondering,
that's going to be in Denver this year. Is it the following year?
Gail, you're talking about something completely different. So this is Idaho's version of like essentially their
Yeah.
state conference. Urissa
Which
is
I-
a national conference.
Kara's in both of them,
Yes.
to be clear. I
Yes.
think it's Northwest GIS User Group.
That does not sound right, but whatever
Oh,
it was,
okay.
it used to be
Okay.
Intermountain GIS. Anyway, it's going to be in Pocatello at the end of April or beginning of May.
Next year.
Yes, next year, 2026.
Conferences are going to be
Okay.
hard to come by next year.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Okay.
just wanted you guys to know that.
Any other updates, Michelle?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Nate, you're up.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, this past month.
Do you want to share your screen?
Sure, yeah, that works. I'll just give a quick update of the payments I've made and then, yeah, go over the budget really quick. But
Okay.
yeah, this past month I've gotten checks out to David Howes and Eric Pimpler for their services they provided. And Delta got their invoice paid. And I just got the invoice from Full Scope. And so it includes their administrative and communication contract, and then also some additional expenses tied to the conference for printing and appreciation gifts, and then the meetup at Mount Ascension. Also in April, we paid the insurance for general liability and directors and officers. And so that covers us from April 11th, 2025 till April 11th, 2026. So we paid a lump sum on that, so we won't have to make quarterly payments. And yesterday I sent out the scholarship awards to the 3 students, one at MSU and then another at University of Montana, and then Montana Technological, Montana Tech. And then also the one for the K through 12 scholarship to the Belgrade High School. And then I've been updating the treasurer's handbook so I can easily hand this position off to Nick to make sure he kind of gets the login information to the Wells Fargo account and QuickBooks and AffiniPay and kind of what to expect for the reoccurring bills that we have. And so, once he gets a debit card and becomes the key executive on the Wells Fargo account, he'll have to update some of the automatic payments that we have for like QuickBooks and the AffiniPay payment processing. But all of that is outlined in a treasurer's handbook, which is saved on our Google Drive. And currently, our checking balance is $11,764.85, and in our savings we have $66,389.07. I'll share my screen and just kind of run through the budget really quick. And it looks like I have to request. Oh, this isn't allowing multiple presenters. Gail, could you? Yep, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so this is our general operating budget that we passed and also made amendments to adjust for our insurance. And then I filled out all of the expenses that we've paid to date and also the revenues that we received. So this column C, is up to date for what we've seen come in and out of our banking account. So you see, we've generated a little bit more in membership than we expected. And registration right around what we anticipated, a little bit more in sponsorship and a little bit more in workshops than what we expected. And so overall, we've had a bit more generated in revenue than what we budgeted for, which is excellent. And GeoCon expenses, some of this we're still waiting. I still need to send the invoice to Fullscope to pay for the appreciation stuff and then some of the GeoCon supplies. And so the expenses here isn't yet complete. But looking at the food, we kind of hit our mark. So that's good. We estimated about right. And our fees and honorariums, it's a little bit more than what we expected. And this might have been just because more people took classes from these people. And so we had to pay Eric Pimpler and David Howes a little bit more for their services. Operating expenses. So some expenses yet to be expected is a couple of invoices to Fullscope. We'll have just another payment for QuickBooks. And program expenses. Not too many here that we expect besides the scholarships and grants. These checks were sent out, and so once they're awarded to the students by the university, I'll see them in QuickBooks and then categorize them, and then I'll fill this out. But currently, we're sitting $14,000 over budget, so we're in the green, in the positive, but there's still some expenses that we expect before the end of the year. So
Well done, everybody. Just, it's a hard thing to stay in the budget, and all of you have worked so hard, both to keep us within budget, but then also at the conference. So just can't even say again how much I appreciate all the work that you've done. And thank you, Nate, for giving us that update. Does anybody have any questions for Nate?
No, again, I'd just like to express my appreciation for Nate, even though he's a short timer. We worked together diligently to get those last funds out to the award recipients. That's always a challenge at the end of the year. So thanks a lot, Nate. Really professional on that, and I appreciate it.
yeah, and thanks, Rob. You've been great to work with, and yeah, getting those letters written and out and to the correct people at the universities, because sometimes that's hard. So yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Nate, I guess I'm assuming that you're going to help Nick with the proposed budget next month.
Yeah, well, yeah, I need to get in touch with Nick and probably just go over some of this. And I've kind of started a skeleton 2026 budget, so just kind of maybe walk him through that and maybe who to work with on the board to fill out some of the expenses. So, yep.
Perfect. Appreciate that. Thanks, Nate.
Nate, you mentioned that we made more revenue on the workshops than last year, and it looks like, or than we projected, on the order of $6,353. But when I look at the difference between the fees and honorariums that were, I would assume, mostly paid to the workshop instructors, it's the difference of like $8,000. Is that like, are we losing money by paying these fees and honorariums? Will you help me understand the difference between it's like $8,490 difference
No,
between what
yeah.
for the fees and honorariums versus the 6,000 difference between
Yeah,
the like
that's
actual revenue?
Yep, that's a good question. And I haven't dug into that yet
Yeah.
this year. Last year, I kind of dug into that to see if we were making money for each one of the classes. And I guess Michelle might know if they charged more for the classes than they have in the past, or why we're paying that
Yes,
much
yes,
more.
they did.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, and to answer your question, Helen, the workshops do make a little bit of, well, they break even at least, because we don't pay honorariums to all the other workshop instructors. So that money goes to cover cost of the catering and the room rentals. And Jeff and I are going to be doing an analyzation of that just to make sure we are breaking even, and the workshop prices have not increased for quite some time. So that was one thing Jeff was going to look at for next year. But for this year, David House did increase his workshop prices. So that was part of it, and we didn't anticipate that. So, but yeah, I believe we should have at least broken even on the workshop piece of it.
Yeah, does he charge like a per person fee? Like if
Yeah.
we need to like cap him so
Yeah.
he doesn't
Well,
go
and
past a certain amount?
if you look
does,
at it,
yeah.
if you look at it this way, we actually had more workshops, so we actually probably went down in, I guess, per room, so to speak. So I mean, the numbers are probably deceiving, but we offered 3 new workshops this year. So, but I think they were right on par what we were expecting, and it probably does come down to probably charging more, like on top of what we, because essentially we just add like $80 on top of what David charges, which does that $80 cover the room? I don't know if it does not. But it probably doesn't go as far as it did 10 years ago. Let's just put it that way. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying. I would probably think we should look at some of our rates overall since inflation and so.
Yeah, and the same thing with the conference registration fee as well. And we've had to cut a few things for it to not affect our bottom line. in terms of not offering as much at the breaks. And also the Thursday lunch has been cut out the last few years as well. But the cost of catering is only going up, as Michelle pointed out.
Hey,
So,
Jeff, I'd just like to comment on that quickly. We all knew that was coming, and
Yep,
you know
yep.
what? I don't think it affected the morale at the conference one bit.
Nope.
So I think we were wise to make those decisions.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Sounded like morale was very high. I was quite jealous.
I heard great things. All right. Just trying to keep us on track. We're almost wrapping it up. Thank you so much again, Michelle and Jeff and Nate, for everything that you've done. So let's see. MGAC, Eric, is Eric on here?
Yep,
I'll
right
let,
here.
okay. I'll let you go ahead and
Yeah,
give an
I'll get you
update.
back on schedule. I was out of town last week, so I did not attend the
Great.
meeting.
Okay.
I had reviewed it. I put in the chat, I put the link to the agenda from last week's meeting, and you can go in there. Honestly, the only thing that I would have missed voting on were of a business item were the minutes to approve minutes, but all the other ones you could take a look at. I think we as a group are all well aware of a number of the items that would have come up during that meeting, specifically House Bill 192. That text is there, and it also has a nice graphic that that Aaron or Jenny provided, the state library provided a nice graphic. I have been coordinating and keeping my clerk and recorder in the loop. She was very excited to see it. She was tracking so many other bills. She was happy to see that this one passed as well, because obviously this was one that the clerk and recorders had led with, and with the state library's support as well. And so, or it was supported by clerk and recorders. Great graphic on there showing when the new fees will go into effect. The other thing is the grant review, internal review. I would encourage you to take a look at discussion item number 2, or I guess it's discussion item 1 on the thing. It's the MGIA internal grant review. It's a project brief. The executive summary gives some new information on how they plan to go about and meet the needs with grants. Hopefully our funding returns back to a level where the state library and the council can return to the grant cycle again. So local governments have that option of taking their local funds and leveraging them with money from the state funds side of things. It's something that we've used frequently here with Lewis and Clark County for a number of things, and I know other counties have as well. And then the other one I wanted to point out, their financial review. I always appreciate seeing the standing report. There's an external link for the MGIA collections dashboard. So for those of you that may not be aware of how much your local community your county has collected, that's a great dashboard to take a look at to see what's going on in collections along those lines. So if I recall, the next meeting that we are then scheduled for with the council is in July. Yep. So July 10th will be our next one. It'll be it'll be in Helena and online as well. So yeah, like I said, I was out of town last week, so I missed it in person, but everything was right there. All the documents are off their agenda page, or will kind of catch you up to date on what was discussed. So
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Does anybody have any questions for Eric? He's being
Love
so
this
quiet.
dashboard.
Yeah,
you
the
like that?
dashboard is amazing.
My apologies.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn my camera on. Apologies. So, but yeah,
Okay.
no, that dashboard is really nice. I've used it I've clicked on the Lewis and Clark one. When you click on an individual county, the various graphic other information pages open or update, obviously. And I've used that to do some screenshots to share with my fiscal officer and things like that to say, this is what there should be. This is how do these numbers jive with what you have in your budget cycle? So, things like that. So pretty impressive. So.
And I think Aaron said they tend to be like a month behind.
Yeah. It's not today. It's, as of, I think, probably the April timeframe. So based on our May here. Yeah. So thank you, Megan.
In case you were worried about the last one, the last
I'm
number
not
of there.
worried. I'm not worried about anything anymore. So.
All right, and the last thing on the agenda for our final meeting. Jackson, do you want to give us an update on the MSU colloquium?
I think sorry, Gail, I missed this at the bottom of the agenda when you sent it around. I think I gave an update on our last call. Just thank you, Nate, for helping me get the checks out to the winners. And thank you, Michelle and Alicia, for the social media shout out. But I think we covered it last time.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any final comments before we sign off for this board?
Yeah, I guess I would echo Megan's chat comments there of thanking everyone for the organization and everything like that. And then thank you to all of our outgoing members, outgoing board members. It's been a pleasure working with everyone. And obviously it doesn't end here. We'll see each other in events, but thank you for your time. It's, serving as a volunteer on these on a board like this is, it's timely. It takes a lot of time out of it, and especially for those of you in these roles like the secretary, the roles in treasurer, things like that. It takes a lot of time, and so thank you for that time. And we'll look forward to bringing in the new members to the next meeting, I guess.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Amazing workshops, awesome note taking, budgeting. I was very appreciative to have my first year with the three of you in particular who are leaving us. So thank you.
It's been really fun. I'll see you guys around.
Thank you, everybody.
And Gail, thank you for your
Nate,
term
and
as
Tessa
president.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're still here so you don't get to leave yet. You don't get that big thank you yet because you still got another year.
Yeah, it's bittersweet. I'm like really kind of sad to be handing it over, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, all the free time.
Get some serious quilting in now.
Absolutely. All right. Do we need to do, let's see, do we need to have somebody make a motion to end the meeting?
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Your last aye of the year. All right. Anybody opposed to ending the meeting? Say nay. Mike, shh. I'm just kidding.
No.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Bye.
And thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much
Thank
for
you.
everything you've done. Okay.
Thank you
guys.
all.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
But
Bye.